If I could share with you a powerful tip that led a man to have a net worth of $73 billion, would you be interested? Watch on to JT and the Raw Show 30. Have you ever wondered how to get your mojo back when you're at work? Watch on JT and the Raw Show 30. This week I'm coming to you from Bondi Beach, and I guarantee that everything that I share in this show is relevant to any business, any industry, and anybody. So, welcome to JT and the Raw, your weekly catch-up where I chew the thin on business. And I'm off Bondi Beach, as I said. It's a pretty ordinary day. Let's see if there's the beach out there. There's a couple of people working out down there. What a cool place. If you're coming to Sydney, you've got to come to Bondi Beach. It's just awesome. So if you get bored with my show, just look out over my shoulder and watch the view. Okay, this week's show, what's on? What do we got? 2 shout-outs this week. I'm also going to talk about how to determine what goals to set and what goals not to set in business, according to Warren Buffett, who has a total net worth of about $73 billion. I've got hashtag AskJT about getting your mojo back at work. And how many follow-ups do you need to make to a prospect? So it's a pretty big show. And welcome this morning already to Sylvia and Scotty G. How are you guys? All right, let's kick it off. A shout out this week. Morning, Eugene. Morning, Debs. A shout out. This is a way I like to recognise people who are supporting me and supporting the show and my business, Active Management. And the first one shout out today goes to Active Management members. Thanks to all the members who have rejoined the Active Management members Facebook page. We listened to you and we brought back the Facebook page as the forum for efficient and effective communication to you. We know it's going to add like heaps of value, enormous value to your membership. So we're pumped up about that. If you're a member and you're watching this and you are not already connected on the Facebook page, just put FB in the comments below and I'll send you the link to be able to get part of the closed group, I guess is the right description. And if you're not an Active Management member, then just put active in the comments below and I'll send you the information on becoming a member. Okay, another shout out, number 2 shout out. This is a weird one, but it's a good one. I want to shout out to all the Aussies watching and all the Indians watching. Happy Aussie Day to everybody. Yesterday was Australia Day here in Oz, so happy Australian Day, Aussie Day to everybody from Australia. But also to the Indians watching, if we have any Indians watching, happy Republic Day. Apparently it was Republic Day yesterday, and that was happening all over India. So welcome to you guys and happy National Days. Okay, what have I been reading? This is going to look funny because it's going to be back to front. This is a book that I'm reading at the moment. It's Grit. It's written by Angela Duckworth. And Angela, I first saw in a TED Talk where she talks about grit and trying to make our kids stronger. It's a ripper of a TED Talk. If you haven't seen it, put Angela in the comments and I'll send you the link to the TED Talk. And it's an absolute beauty. And this book, it goes into a whole lot more depth than the TED Talk. And while it's a tougher read, it's a lot harder than I thought it would be. It is really fascinating. There's some really great information in there. She says grit is about working on something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it. Interesting. She says grit is about working on something you care about so much that you will stay loyal to it. That's what I say. Interesting. Okay, grit has 2 components. Passion and perseverance. And grit is when we have consistency with our effort over time. Really, really great book, really interesting. Look, you can see I'm not really too far into it, but I'm finding it a fascinating read. And while I was ploughing through the book and really working hard to get a good understanding of it, I came across a really interesting story, I guess, from Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett is allegedly worth about $73 billion. So I guess it's kind of worth listening to what he says. Morning, Matt Parry. Morning, Hillary. Morning, Debs. Okay, so the story goes that he was talking to his pilot. Of course, we all have our own personal pilot, don't we? Hit thumbs up if you've got your own personal pilot or if you'd like your own personal pilot. Anyway, he's got this story with his personal pilot, and he says to his personal pilot, surely you don't want to be flying me around. Surely you must have some career goals. And the pilot says, yeah, I've got some career goals. And the story goes that he shared 3 powerful tips with the pilot. First tip to achieving his goals were, write down a list of 25 career goals that you want to achieve. So that's it. Tip number 2, circle the top 5 highest priorities of those career goals. Okay, so first of all, we write 25. Now we circle 5, the most important to us, the highest priority. He said, then reread the other 20 goals. Reread the other 20 goals and then avoid them at all costs. Morning, Michael Grippy. Buffett says that the 20 other goals are what distracts us from achieving our top 5 goals. These other 20 goals will simply eat up your time, eat up your energy, eat up your resources, eat up your brain space for being able to achieve the other top 5 goals. Wow. Pretty powerful advice. Morning, Yvonne. I think that's pretty powerful advice, but great advice from Buffett. And if you haven't set your business goals for 2017, then get your shit together and start getting them done. In only 4 days' time, 8% of the year is going to be gone. So you've got to get your skates on. You've got to get working, and you've got to start moving towards these career goals and these business goals. Okay, so back to grit, back to this book. As I said, it's a cracker, just tough to read. I'm going to keep powering through it because what I'm keen to learn is I just want to know kind of more about building grit into the culture of a business. As business gets tougher, I think we need to be working harder. We've got to have that loyalty. We've got to have that perseverance in order to stick with what we're doing. And I'm hoping this book's going to give me a few more tips to help my clients out. So if you want to get a copy of this, if you want the link to this book, just put grit in the comments below and I'll send you the link to be able to grab the book. Okay, so if you want Angela Duckworth's TED Talk on grit, just put Angela in the comments below and I'll put the link to that. And if you want the link to the book, then I'll send you the link to that as well. Morning, Darren. Morning, Manny Fletcher. How you going? Oh, by the way, if you think anyone could benefit from Warren Buffett's tips on setting goals, just tag them in the comments below and they'll get a copy of the video on their Facebook feed. Okay, this week, 2 Ask JTs. Hashtag Ask JT. Don't forget, you can ask me any questions you like about business and I'll give them a crack with an answer. Okay, so the first question is a result actually of a discussion I had with one of my clients who said he'd hoped after 3 weeks holiday he'd return to work with newfound energy, enthusiasm, desire to work, zest for life and all that sort of stuff. Alas, there's an element of frustration as membership is still flatlined for him. So I said to him while we were chatting, I said, what about focusing on what are your strengths? Now, I know marketing and sales is not what he loves. He knows he has to do it, but it's not his strength. And if you watched way back, I mean, we're up to show 30, but if you go back to JTInTheRaw show 15, I talk about working in your strength zone. And I shared a statistic that it's too early to talk. Statistic that 70% of people don't have the opportunity to do what they do best at work, and so they disengage. And this includes you. Morning, Kerry Stewart. How are you in WA? This includes you. If you're not working in your strength zone, then you disengage and you lose your mojo. So if you missed show 15, just put 15 in the comments below and I'll send you the link to that show. It's easy to do and it's easy to watch. So my suggestion to this client was that he does what he does best. And what he does best, his strength, is creating an experience for all his clients when they come into his studio, when they come into his gym. So, of course, we then explored how he would create an amazing experience for them. But I said, that's what you need to focus on. That's going to give you the confidence. That's going to build up your mojo for you. Work in your strength zone. How's that for an idea? Now, the end goal, of course, for him was to build up sales. And if we're improving his retention, we're going to get sales. So that might mean that if you're in your strength zone and it's going to get you toward that end goal, well, it may require some imagination. It might require some serious strategic thinking. But that's why you pay a coach. That's why you pay a business coach to help you. So in this example, we weren't giving up on growth. We were just going to attack growth from a different angle. We're going to attack it from the point of retaining our customers in order to keep our clients and grow our business. So let's use our strengths. If you're not working in your strength zone, you're not going to have your mojo on. So identify what you're good at, and then work in that zone to keep your mojo at work. Okay, question number 2. This one comes from Dan in Seattle. So we've got questions from one side of the planet to the other side of the planet. And his question is this: how many times do I need to follow up someone who I have price presented to and I don't want to harass them? Okay, Dan, let's start with a statistic from your country and from your US National Sales Executive Association. And the fact you are following up is awesome. It's fantastic, Dan, because 48% of salespeople, after they price present, never follow up a prospect. In fact, 25% of salespeople only make a second contact and then stop. 12% make 3 contacts, and only 10% make more than 3 contacts. Morning, Jason Sachecki. How are you, mate? Okay, here are the 5 kicker stats for you, Dan, on why you need to keep following up your prospects. Only 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. And wait for it, 80% of sales are made between the 5th and the 12th contact. Does that answer your question, Dan? Does that tell you, Dan, how many times you need to follow up people before you're going to get them started on a program of some sort? But the real question for me, Dan, is how are you following up? How are you following up? If you're not adding any value to those contacts, to your prospects, then you are harassing them. Let me say that again. If you're not adding any value to the prospects in the following up process, then you're harassing them. So here's my suggestion. Let's assume it's going to take 12 contacts to get a prospect to join, a prospect to buy from us, whatever we're selling, a widget even. Okay, plan out those 12 contacts. First of all, plan out what mode those contacts might be. Will you call them? Will you text them? Or will you email them? And plan out what resources you can add to those contacts to add value. Like that could be a recipe. That could be an at-home strength program. That could be anything at all, but there's got to be a resource so it adds value to them. And you know what, Dan? That'll make your sales. Okay, remember, if you've got any questions, just hashtag AskJT. Shoot it through to me on Facebook, shoot it through to me on email, put it in the comments below, and I'll answer it in the next show. Okay, what's happening for me? Next week, I start 6 weeks of travel time, and I've got the Victorian Personal Trainers Industry Leaders Roundtable. That's a mouthful. That is on next Thursday in Melbourne, and then the New South Wales PT Roundtable is in Sydney on Friday. The members of these groups are going to be sharing their 2017 goals, both their financial goals and their strategic goals, and then they're going to be quizzed by their peers to ensure they've got clarity about those goals and whether they're realistic or not. So it's going to be a big couple of days for those guys. I'm also writing this week. We're planning on a really interactive challenge to get your business financially fit. And this could be any business. It hasn't got to be a fitness business. So you're going to see more details of this, and I'll share more details as we roll this out toward the end of February. I'll share it on JTInTheRaw in future shows. I also hope to finalize a new website by the end of this week. So hopefully I'll be able to share that with you next week. And of course, and I think she might be watching right about now, Zoe is back to school on Monday. So the excitement of Monday comes, which is who is her teacher for next year. That's all happening next week. Show 31 next week, next Friday, same time. We'll be coming to you from Performance PT. Like I said, I've got the New South Wales PT Roundtable, so we're going to be coming from a studio in Sydney. So I'll share that with you. I might even show you around Sean O's studio, if you like. Okay, morning, Mike Hodgett. How you going? So tune in to JTInTheRaw Show 31 next week. Okay, what else? Quote of the week. How could I forget? You guys love this bit. Okay, quote of the week. To make sales follow up your competitors. This means more contacts, different contacts, and more value in each contact. Let me share that again for you. Quote of the week. To make sales follow up your competitors. This means make more contacts, different contacts, and more value in each contact. Hey, thanks for tuning in to JTInTheRaw. This is what you've been watching, and we've been chewing the thin on business. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have an awesome weekend, and I'll catch you next week. Cheers.